Hey, what's going on? It's getting ready to start the airplane up, and gonna go do a flight from KSAD P13 E24. So gonna be about an hour flight, something like that. So good to see you again. Let me get the stream on the road then. Okay, looks like I'm streaming. Let me look at a couple of things. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get the plane started up. I'm gonna use my X checklist.
2 brakes. Test and set. 3 fuel selector. Both. 4 fuel shutoff valve. On, in. 6 beacon. On. 7 avionics switch. Off. 8 master switch. On. 9 throttle. Open 1/4 inch. 10 mixture. Idle cut off. A auxiliary pump. On. B mixture. Rich until 3 to 5 GPH, then cut off. C auxiliary pump. Off. 12 starter. Engage. 1 ignition switch. Start. 2 mixture, at engine start. Rich. 3 engine. RPM 1000 RPM. 4 oil pressure. Check. 5 mixture. Leaned max. 6 flaps. Retract. 7 avionics. On. 8 instruments. Set. 1 brakes.
Alrighty. Wait a little bit here and let this plane warm up. Had a bad experience when I didn't do that before, so we'll do a couple of checks here. Say active weather, active runway. Say active runway.
Arriving and departing runway 30.
Okay. So, I got my flight plan loaded in. Let me make sure. Yep. So we're going to go to P13. I'm going to do a touch and go there, and then the E24. To my right. Oh, this one? I have a lot of windows, so this one here. Yeah. This is Pilot ATC. So, cool thing about Pilot ATC, I can basically pick a satellite view and I can zoom in, so I can see exactly where my airplane is, so I can figure out where I need to taxi to get to the runway. Pretty slick. And the way I do this is with OVR Toolkit, and which only works on Steam VR. But it allows all kinds of things that bring that in here. But yeah, this is Pilot ATC. So we'll put him out of the way a little bit. Plane's starting to warm up. Okay, got a heading. So it's looking like the runway is to my left. 30 is. So yeah, we're up in the green. So I'm going to go ahead and release parking brake. So I gotta find the taxiway here. So if I turn here, make a left turn here. So that should take me up here to up to runway 30. This is another runway right here I'm crossing right now. It's a shorter one. I think it's 4,000 feet. So. As you can see on the map that I taxied from basically over in here, and then I followed this taxiway, and I gotta think about something for a minute. I'm in the wrong place. I gotta turn around. I gotta go back this taxiway. I looked at the, yep, I'm wrong. This is 12. So we'll see if I can get turned around here. Come on, turn. Yep, wrong place. Oh well. Yeah, I looked out of the corner of my eye and I looked at the numbers on that runway and I went, that's not 30. Then I looked at the map and went, oh crap. Oh well. We'll get it figured out. Yeah, untoward airports, you got to figure it all out for yourself. And luckily I figured it out before I got on the runway. Yeah, I tried live weather and that was not going to happen. It was really stormy, really overcast, kind of like, nope, that ain't going to happen today, so. Sorry. This may be a little bit better. Okay. Kind of look over everything, make sure everything's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think we're okay. I'll turn my nav lights on, taxi lights off, landing lights on. I think that's good. Okay. Get lined up here and start my adventure. Here's a 30, okay. At least I'm on the right runway. Alrighty. For full power. Try to keep her down the center line here. Get over. Get over. That's better. 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 Alrighty, rotate. Be climbing at about 80 knots here. Trying to maintain runway heading until I get 500 feet above the ground. Be climbing about 500 feet a minute, so we're doing okay. So my course is over on my left. Okay, 500 feet, turn on course. Course should be 290, so well actually it was almost runway heading. So kind of seeing where I'm at here. So we're certainly westbound, so we'll be I think I'll start out at 4,500 feet and see if any mountains get in my way. So I'm going to change the CDI here to GPS. Enter, actually hit menu, and then hit enter. So that activates the leg. If I come down here and hit nav, nav again, that should be on GPS tracking. And let's see how good she does. Yeah, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Okay, I'm coming up on 4,500. I'm going to pull the power back a little bit. 2,200. See what's in front of me? No mountains. That's good. And we'll try to find a balance here. Haven't quite found it yet. When I don't know about here. I know back home. We've got too much power. Back home, right about these settings, I should get about 110 knots. So a little bit higher in elevation, so that will make a difference. I'm going to flip this over to basically a check zone, and so I have it where it's basically going to keep track of where my plane is. And I want to be zoomed in just a little bit more. Yep, that looks good. So now I'm going to P13, so I'll look here. Left on 30, so 27 will probably be a good runway. And where are we? So we're at 3,200 feet. It's where the elevation. San Carlos Apache Airport. And so 27. So 27 is west. I take my heading bug and I turn it to west. So that's my runway heading for the next airport. I dropped just a little bit of elevation, about 200 feet. So I've had to trim up a little bit to get it back in line. And also lost just a little bit of RPM. I was a little under 2,200. So we do have some mountains along us, but I think I can stay away from the highest parts of them. So. Right up through here, there's kind of like a river. There's a river and some water right up through here. So. About 50 miles away from the next airport, and it should be about half an hour, about 32 minutes. So. And so I'm flying in X-plane 11.51 R1. There's a R2 out too, but that's not what I'm flying right now. So. And I am using HP Reverb G2 with valve index controllers. In X-plane it works great. In Microsoft Flight Simulator, not so much. This program here is Avatar. It is an X-plane plugin, and so it allows me to get airport information. It also allows me to have a sectional, you know, where I can kind of see where I am, and try to think what all else it does. A bunch of other stuff. So you can do notes. You can like scribble on here. It's really slick, and same thing, it'd be great if you had something like this in Microsoft Flight Simulator, where it's kind of like you have your iPad in a cockpit with you, in a VR cockpit. Extremely handy. Let me go back to airports. Yes. I already got one moving map, and I got my GPS, so I think I got enough. So I'm running my course, the direction of where I'm going. That's done with GPS. So I have that airport dialed into my flight plan. The elevation, on the other hand, I'm doing that myself. I'm controlling the elevation. I kind of decided to do this because sometimes when you're kind of like looking up in front of you and you go, oh, there's a mountain there, I'm going to have to change elevation. And I didn't want to bother kind of playing around with it with the autopilot. I can just do it myself. So GPS is going to take me right to the airport, and I'll keep myself away from any obstacles in that path. And like right now, I'm trying to be at 4,500, and I'm about 4,600. So So I just shoved in on the yoke a little bit and moved the trim wheel up just the smallest, 2 nubs or something like that. Just trying to get it to get itself back down. So I could go ahead and click on altitude and just tell autopilot to do it, but I just chose not to do that today. So it looks like the path we're flying, we're not going to be to that highest peak, but we are going to be over on a little bit of a rise of the mountain. But I'm thinking I'm high enough. We're not going to worry about it. But when you get closer, then you can make them kind of decisions. So. At the weather getting ready for this flight, it said stormy. I kind of like I don't think I'm up for stormy today, so I did thick scattered clouds. Looking okay. I probably ought to do a 3D add-on for clouds. Kind of. They're not going to be like what Microsoft Flight Simulator is, but maybe I can make them better. I don't know. So I have one more trip after this one to finish off what the same flights that I flew in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I have this one, and then tomorrow I plan on doing the last one that I did in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've pretty much flown, not everywhere in Arizona, but a lot of places in Arizona. It allows me to see just the difference in the scenery. I used Ortho for XP to create the tiles for this scenery, and then when I close to where, and I did it at a setting of 16, close to the airports, I made it. Let me think here a minute. 19 at the airport, 18 around that, 17 around that. So that's what basically how I did my tiles. So for free, it's about as good as you can do with X-Plane as far as the scenery goes. So So, am I gonna make it over this ridge or not? I wonder. It's kind of looking close. Like I'll be fine. A little hazy, so it'll be a little bit fun finding the, well, I'm sure I can find the airport, but finding a runway may be a bit of a challenge, but let's see. Still got 20 minutes to go, so. That's 30 miles, so. Hopefully the mountains in the distance won't be a factor. After spending some time in Microsoft Flight Simulator, the detail of the mountains do leave something to be desired. Certainly hope they can fix this. Just not sure if that is possible. Maybe with X-Plane 12. I don't know. There is some detail, like the road and stuff. There's cars on the road, so there is some detail, but it's certainly not the same. What kind of is missing is the trees. Like here, there should be This shouldn't be barren like this. You would think there should be trees. There's some, but I'm thinking there should be more. We're not that high up where there wouldn't be trees. Nope. Nope, not at all. So there's this lake right here. So we kind of go over the lake, and the airport's out past this. So we fly right over it, over the lake. I won't say I've given up, but it's a lot less effort to do it in Windows. The problem, and only in X-Plane I'm talking about right now, there's when you move your head, it's like you have double vision. So all the instruments are kind of double. The faster you move your head, the further the original image is and the second image is. If you hold your head steady, it's fine. You can't see it. But if I'm moving my head like that, I'll see double images of whatever I'm looking at. I've talked to Ben about it, and the comment is, you're too small a community for us to spend much time on it. So I kind of like went, okay. The fact that it works is pretty cool. Now, I have a friend that lives in Germany, Benny, and he has figured out how to, he's a Linux user too, a Linux VR user, and he has figured out a way to use to fly Microsoft Flight Simulator on Linux. So that was entertaining when I was watching his stream. So I think there's a possibility, you know, but quite frankly, in recent time, I haven't spent a lot of time working on it. So I've decided instead to kind of enjoy flying more than debugging and writing code, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. So kind of enjoying the toys that I have. Now I'm on a search for a 3090. I have a 2080 Ti, and I want to see if I can try something better. We'll see how long that search goes on. Okay, 12 minutes out, and about 20 miles. active runway.
Arriving and departing runway 30.
Cool. Say active runway, Papa 13.
Arriving and departing runway 30.
Still thinks I'm at back where I came from. Oh well. Yeah, the Mac I don't use very much, but my daily driver is on is Linux, so let's see. Say active runway.
This is Prescott FSS on 122.3. Please repeat your request.
Please say active runway, Cessna 6 Bravo Golf.
Cessna 6 Bravo Golf. This is Prescott FSS on 122.3. Please repeat your request.
Nah, it's not happy with me. Oh well. terrain. Kind of fun, like picking my way through these mountains and stuff, because I pick my route right straight. So, but I also look on the maps on the sectionals to see how high that surrounding terrain is. So. Looks like the airport's like right straight in front of me, so my goal is to do a base turn. I'm lined up right for the runway right now, so when I get a little bit closer, when I'm really sure that's the runway or the airport. Okay, 31. Let me get rid of a little bit of elevation. Just the way the terrain is out here, it makes it really, really hard to kind of pick out these runways from a distance. basically 40. So that was kind of an ugly landing, but I'll take it. I was too high, didn't set up on the approach point right. But yesterday when I landed, I thought I had my trim wheel whacked, and that's what I was checking on the way in to make sure that the trim wheel was where it belonged, so. Okay. Let's see if it'll take me home. Yeah, I have 108 hours. Stress of work drove me out of the cockpit. And now I'm retired, so I have more time on my hands, but less disposable income to spend on flying. So, come on. I guess you're coming in. Okay. So yeah, we'll do 55. Well, we'll see where we're going. Oh, I remember this one, 5100. Okay. Yeah, I gotta go through some mountains. So, so I had to quit. And I had 108 hours, so that was probably, I was hours away from taking my jet ride, but that was probably the hardest decision of my life, to decide it was safer to be on the ground thinking about flying than to be in the air thinking about work. So, but I personally think I did the right decision, and when I fully understand that to rent an airplane and an instructor's a couple of $100 an hour, you can have some pretty nice sim toys when you fully understand those prices. So that's kind of where I am. Alrighty, I'm at 5,500. I'm going to level off. I think I might have to climb some, but we'll see. Looks like we got about 40 miles to go. And I do remember this airport. I literally have to fly over some mountains. And I think I may have been at 7,500 when I was getting there. Well, let's go check. That's why you got all the maps with you. So, oh yeah. There it is. Thanks for the follow. Up on my airplane. So, I'm going up to 7,500. and because I know I have to, and my next airport is at 5,000 feet, so I'm going to have to be at least 6,000. So we'll just climb. Because I kind of have to be up, I'm kind of up in the mountains, and then when I get close to the airport, I have to kind of descend. So the mountains are, I got to get up over them, and then I've got to like descend down to the airport, and the airport's on my left. It was pretty exciting the first time, and because I just blindly flew into this airport, and actually did a pretty good job, but so this will be the second time, and it'll be interesting how different it is. Where am I gonna land? For some reason today my chair keeps wanting to slide back from my yoke. Makes it quite disorienting. So the airport we're going to is White River. And if I understand it correctly, it's I think it's an airport like at a reservation if I've done my homework well enough. But it is a pretty neat airport. There's the way I've landed before, and I think it was on 01. Yeah, that'd be right. Whoops, that wasn't what you needed to do, Bill. There we go. Gotta get myself set back up here. Okay, that's pretty good. Every once in a while I go ahead and instead of grabbing the heading and the heading knob, I grab the, let's see, so that would be 01, okay. I grab the knob that moves the directional gyro, kind of like, oh, that wasn't what you wanted to do. Okay, I'm at 7,500, so I'm gonna pull back the power. I think I can clear these mountains here. We'll set it at 2,200 and see how it goes. Bad luck out here, not a lot of good places to land. For a headset then in X-Plane? Using the G2 then? Okay. I've had a few since I started. I've had a Vive Pro, Valve Index, and now the G2. The G2 resolution-wise is the best, but I just love my index controllers. That's better. Was getting misaligned in the seat. But it's like, this is ridiculous. Okay. You charted on Microsoft Flight Simulator? Microsoft Flight Simulator. Have you tried the G2 on that? It's a challenge. I went back to my valve index to be happy. They got a new update coming out on Tuesday. I'm kind of wondering if it'll make any difference, but we'll just have to see. I knew I was going to be flying X-plane for a few days anyhow, so I'll be done with what I wanted to do on X-plane by Monday, so I'll give it a whirl when it shows up. They're saying they're locked in, so they won't postpone it again. Yeah, it is. Well, the fact that it doesn't have touch controller support is kind of a non-starter, so, but I've been trying, so. Okay, we're 17 miles out. Nothing's looking too familiar yet. When I get close, there's a couple of ponds that will be to the left of my course. And then I'll know I'm getting close. Yeah, as far as the head tracking, I generally don't have any problems, but I really believe it is mostly related to lighting. And I don't, where I stream at isn't lit really well. So every once in a while I believe it's related to that, so. took it off autopilot because I wanted to have a little more control here. This approach is a little bit crazy. And following the GPS into it, probably not going to be a good idea. So basically I'm dropping into this valley here. So the runway's at 5,100. So right down through here, I think I want to be at about 6,000. So going to pull the power back a little bit, just let it descend. I see what I was looking for up on my left here. I'm trying to get to the right a bit. And so I have some time to make my approach. These are what I was looking for. They're just a distinct marker. They're almost like the retention ponds. And I remember them on the way in. The last time I landed here. So they're like a nice marker to say, okay, you're in the right place. And airport's 5,100. I need to be at 6,000 or less before this runway shows up on my left. So I'm descending about 500 feet a minute. There's this mountain here, this ridge over here on the left. That's not far from the runway. You can't do a left turn off the runway if you're coming in this direction. That's not going to happen. So, okay. There's the road. Runway is not obvious whatsoever. It's way more obvious in Microsoft Flight Simulator. There it is. I'm going to do a right turn. But I am... yeah, I'm going to do a right turn here. So I see where the runway is. Just looking at the train, see what kind of room I've got. trying to get out here far enough where I can do like a 180 without doing anything too stupid. Yeah, come out here. That'll give me a better approach, and I'm going to do kind of a straight-in approach, but not really. But just give me enough room where I can get turned around. I just don't want to try to do it right there. That's just going to be kind of dumb. So I'm about 1,000 feet above that runway. So this ain't a legitimate pattern in any way, shape, or form. But I want to make sure I have that runway in my, where I can see it. It's coming down that valley, it's all of a sudden, bang, it's there. It's kind of like, you know, and I pulled it off with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but the runway was much more visible. So we're going to do a turn here. Hopefully the mountain doesn't show up in my windscreen. This is hard to see. I know where it has to be. Okay. 1 notch of flaps. I think down at the end of the runway here, there is there's some parking. Not sure if it's an X-plane. Well, that's cool. I went back past the turnoff, but I think at the end of the runway here, there's parking. Well, we'll find out. There's certainly buildings down there. Yeah, there's parking down here. Okay. Clearly active. Now that was exciting. Wasn't quite as well. It was actually probably more exciting than the last time that I landed here, because the runway wasn't as obvious. It wasn't obvious at all. It just blended in. Alrighty. Oops. Oh, we got a King Air here? Is that something different? Yeah, one picture, yeah. Real parking spots. Oh man, you blew it though, Bill. Well, we'll loop around. We'll loop around this airplane. Hopefully, not take its wing off. Okay, let's try this again. Not sure why you're having such a hard time turning this airplane. Come on. There we go. Up a little bit though. We'll call that good. Turn the avionics off. Flaps are up. Pull the mixture out. So, put parking brake on, lights off. Nah, I don't even want to try that. I have enough time just landing an airplane. So. Oh, that was fun. Oh, that was just a blast. That was a lot of fun. And like I said, I have one more trip, and I'll do that tomorrow at 11 o'clock again, and that'll basically, I'm quite sure that that's the last trip that I did on Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I'm just trying to replicate that in X-Plane. And but this airport's actually kind of cool. I mean, it is. I didn't realize that there's actually parking spots and stuff. That's pretty cool. But yeah, and I did pretty much what I thought I needed to do, because I couldn't turn left because that mountain there says you're not doing that. So I knew I wasn't going to make the runway. So I just kind of got out far enough where I could basically kind of make a reasonable approach, like a kind of a half-hearted base leg and then a final. And but what I'm doing is I caught myself now. First, I thought it was trim. Trim's pretty close to neutral right there. I'm pulling the power back too much. And in the rep plane, you can't do that. I mean, I think I was down to about 1,000 RPM. No way. You're going to drop too fast. And that's what it was. I really just needed to pull it back to about 1,500 and kind of ride about 1,500 into the threshold and then pull it back. So... Oh, yeah, I can make it work, But, I mean, you think about, I'm doing all that with a touch controller. They must work reasonably well, don't they? I mean, the fact that I could kind of realize that and just blindly know that when I hit that, I can feel it. And I gotta ram in some power, to make sure I don't come real short of the runway. And so that to me that kind of like says what needs to be said about touch controllers. They absolutely work. Okay, so they're not gloves where you could basically touch a real knob in a cockpit. I I don't have the room to do that. so I want the cockpit to be virtual, and the only hardware is the pedals and the yoke. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, so that's kind of what my view on like VR and touch controllers, that kind of stuff is, you know. But no, an absolute hardware yoke and paddles, absolutely. That is a given. You know, that is a given. So, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, and I was hoping, that's what I've seen. I've seen those ponds. So I kind of knew where I was, and at that point it was kind of, you're going to have to work at your approach. Oh, okay. When X-Plane first come out, I only flew with touch controllers, and I had a yoke. But kind of the X-Plane developers, when that happened, they kind of wanted you to kind of just try it just with touch controllers, and I did that, and I could land an airplane, but to me, the better combination is hardware yoke and pedals, and touch controllers for everything else. Having the valve index allows me to, you figure, like when I'm landing an airplane, I only have my fingertips on the yoke. That's it. I mean, no matter whether that horn is screaming or not, it isn't like I've got both hands on the yoke, yanking it back. No. I have fingertips on this yoke. It isn't not. It's not a death grip in any way, shape, or form. But the valve index controllers allows me to do that, where I can basically pull this yoke back as far as I need to pull it back, and the great thing is this yoke here, that the stroke is like 8 inches back, so there's an immense amount of control, you know, where I can basically, you know, kind of. If I would have had my RPM appropriately, the landing would have been much better. I'm capable of that, but I got to get in that habit of not being so abrupt with my throttle, and thinking I have to get it to idle before I'm at the runway. I'll have to do that. The rep pack kind of makes that true. In the default Cessna, I probably could have got away with what I did. The rep pack, nope, not gonna happen. It you pull it back to 1,000 RPM and it's gonna drop like a rock. It did. So, alrighty. So I think everything is pretty good. Got the plane all cleaned up. Oh, I think at the end I'm gonna go play a little bit. So let me. First, I'm going to go to so let me do this. Oops. Okay, I'm going to go outside. Okay, let me get over here. So, the Reality Expansion Pack has all these hotspots. So, if I want to like check this light right here, if I go here, it's going to put me there. If I go over here, I'm basically looking at the tire. So if I go back here, I'm basically looking at the elevator. And it allows you to do like a full walk around in VR. So we'll see if I can pull that up out here. Not sure if I can, but we'll see. Toggle walk around mode. Okay. So So basically, it allows you to basically do all of these things. So I'm going to click on next because that's in the cockpit. I'm going to go next. So it says check elevator. So if I press this, moves it up and down. I'll go over here to rudder service. So oh, it kept doing it until I told it not to. But basically, so what it allows you to do is do like a complete pre-flight in VR, which is really slick. Claudio's done like just such a great job on this, you know, that so I'll pop back in the cockpit. But okie dokie, I think I'm going to call it a day, and it was like a lot of fun. And like I said, I got one more trip planned for tomorrow, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'll probably Tuesday. I probably won't stream. I'll probably wait around until Microsoft Flight Simulator update comes out, and I'll play around with that a little bit in VR and see. I won't stream it. I'm just going to play, and I'll see if it is if they've made enough improvements to make it worthwhile to try to stream it. But we'll see. We'll kind of go from there. So, but alrighty, I'm going to call it a day. To anybody who watched and isn't following me, it'd be great if you click on the follow button, and so that when I do stream, you're aware of that. And anybody that's watched the stream in the future, please do the same thing. It is I try my best to interact with chat as best I can. If I'm on a final, don't expect me to react. I plain will not. I'm seriously focused, or like when I was trying to figure out the approach for here, same thing. I was just focusing on flying, and I'll do that first. And when I have opportunity, I will certainly interact with chat, because it is, to me, it's part of the streaming experience. Is meeting people through chat, and trying to pass on the knowledge that I've learned flying airplanes to other people who are interested in learning. Okie doke. We'll say goodbye, and y'all have a great day. I know mine has just been awesome today, so I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for stopping by. Goodbye.